Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 8 different altcoins in this video. It is the 21st of October. We're about 3 hours into the new day. Let's get going, guys. I'm going to tell you the list right now, and I will leave a list in the description as well. Being that there's only 8 coins, don't count on there being timestamps, but maybe, depending on how long I drone on between each coin, maybe I'll leave some timestamps. Rune, Astro, so Rune and Astro for Babu. I'm always going to call you Babu because that's how I met you. AIOZ for Element. GLMR for Jax. SLP for Def WMBCH. Turbo and Goat for Mr. Hat. Zephyr for Bonham. And that's it. Yeah, that's the 8 that we're going over. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get on with our bad selves. Let's do this, all right? And yes, I forgot I am wearing a crown, right? I got my crown today. It's official. C-Zar got his crown, so I felt it was fitting to put it on. You guys, what holiday comes up in like 10 days? You know, think about it. Why do I have a crown? All right. Anyways, but it is fitting for the name. Maybe I'll keep this as a prop going forward. If we look at Thorchain here, Rune, back in 2019, from the low that we had there around its inception, I think, to the all-time high that it had last cycle, you did something that's incredibly very bullish, honestly, which is just holding that 382 area, right? This is an immense move up, right? The most likely targets that you hit at least are the 236 and the 382 area, right? That's the like minimum expected target, and you held that. You held your minimum expected zone. You didn't see the golden ratio, which you could have totally gone back down there, right? There's plenty of reasons why you could have, but you held, right? There's demand for this thing is normally what the story tells us whenever you bounce off the 382, right? And you did have a bit of a double bottom here. I wonder, did you have some bullish divergence? Probably not really, actually, but that's okay. You don't need bullish divergence to find a bottom. Anyways, looking at it on the monthly, I definitely like the way it looks. I definitely do believe it's going to see new all-time highs. And if we look at it from an all-time high to the cycle low perspective that it had, we could project out the all-time highs for this cycle, right? Something to consider is that from a low point here to a high point, you grew. You did a lot of growing, man. What is that? Is that a 2000x? What is that? You move the decimals over too. Is that a 2000x? Did this thing do like a 2680? Is that right? Let me just think. Because 10x would be 900%. So 11x is 100x. Yeah, dude, this did a 1000x. So it did a 2685, almost an 86x last cycle. We can definitely count on it not doing that much growth this cycle, right? So just to throw that out there, right? But that's crazy, man. We probably won't even see half that performance, but damn, that's crazy. Something around the 1618 could happen to the 1272, and this is, I'm going over from the low to the high as far as these projections are. It's not to the current price, but I'm just looking at it real quick just for fun here. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. This thing is, I wish I knew about it before it ever blew up, man. It definitely did a lot last cycle. That's crazy. Why was Dogecoin talked about so much? Am I doing my math right? Like, is something wrong? I'm not doing my math wrong. It's percentages. You move the decimal over 2. If you're dealing with 268,000, move the decimal over 2, you'd have 2,000, right? It's 268,000, it'd be 26.8 thousand, then 2.68 thousand. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy gains, man, in a very, very short amount of time. Definitely bullish, right? It's crazy how much I know I'm stuck on this. I'm like a broken record, but man, it's insane that you saw that kind of rally and you held your 382. Like that's really impressive. I'm sure it was a greater than 90% drop, right? With that kind of, yeah, I mean, you dropped 96%. That's a lot, but still, you held a very, I think, nice area for support. So I do believe you're going to go up higher. I think at least $52 is the minimum expectation here. Expectation here. $164 definitely doable. I think you could even do higher. I want to see what this thing's market cap is. By the way, guys, I just bought more pajamas today, just so you know, for meme coin. Actually, if anyone's looking for a meme coin to get into, I do like pajamas, but I'm not going to show that here. I did not put a lot in there. I just put a little bit for fun, Market cap 1,700 and sorry, 1 billion, 1.7 billion. What am I doing here? 1.7 billion. Okay. That's a pretty damn high market cap, but you've already existed for one bull cycle. You had a very, I would say, healthy correction there to a nice area. Could this thing, from its current price, see a 50x? go up to $100 billion? I think it could. I think I don't know too much about this coin, but from what I do know, it's got a lot of bullish prospects. I think that there's no, like, it's not a problem to consider 164 to $400. Generally, yeah, genuinely, $400 could be a target by the end of this cycle for Thorchain, right? I mean, 7,749% is nothing compared to 268,000%, right? Not that means it has to go there just because it's nothing, right? Just like this is not, that doesn't mean that it has to go there. But I would think this thing could see an over $100 billion market cap this cycle. It really could. So with that, I wouldn't think it goes all the way up to here, up to like $1,400, but around $400, that might be the maximum. I wouldn't count on that happening from here. That'd be about a 76x, almost a 77x from the current price at about $5.16. Don't count on that happening, but definitely don't throw that out the window. It is completely possible. I would say it has a solid chance of doing, right? Breaking the $100 billion market cap barrier is a hard ask for most cryptos, right? Most cryptos don't do that. So, but I think this one, it's not common. Let me just come from the standpoint that I normally stand on, I guess. It's not common for me to say that I think a coin is going to be worth over $100 billion this cycle, right? Even if it is its second cycle, but Thorchain Rune, I think, has a chance. So again, just really going over the idea that, yes, you could see prices as high as $400. You're worth $5.16. I know that sounds crazy, but this thing did crazier things last cycle. And again, that doesn't excuse it. That doesn't permit it to do these things. But I'm just saying it's done crazy things before. I'm not asking for something too crazy in respect to that. But getting above $100 billion, again, that is pretty crazy. But anyways, 76x, before I keep repeating myself. And the minimum expectation that I'd give it is about a 30x, 31x, yeah. Technically, the very technical, those are my personal expected targets, right? If I had to make a call, I think somewhere between 164 and 400, that's where you're going. But maybe maybe you only do from here a 10x. Maybe you only do from here a 16 to 17x. That's possible too, right? You might stop at 52. You might not break $100 this cycle, let alone 100 billion, but on the market cap scale. But yeah, personally, I would expect with something that holds its 382 like that, like very, very well respected. It's not even like it's not even funny. It's perfect respect in my opinion. I would think you do see the 1618 at least. That's why I feel comfortable saying, even though this is the normal expected zone, that's why I feel comfortable just kind of acknowledging these deeper extensions. 1618 to the 1886. Again, between 400 and 165. I'm gonna stop repeating myself there. Let's move on. We're gonna do the short-term stuff and then move on with the rest of these coins. Hopefully I don't do this for every single coin because this video is just going to go on forever if I do. Very bullish daily RSI. Dude, you're ready to go. You're just waiting, right? And that's kind of the story of most crypto right now. Everything's just waiting. So in a moment, we will move up. Time will tell, but I do think that we're going to move up. If we look at the range that we're in now, right, had a nice move up, consolidation phase for a little while. You're above the 382, moved above it, found support on it. This is very constructive. The next move that I'd look for you at 515 in a very short amount of time, potentially by the end of October, if not certainly in the first half of November. I would think you're above 645, maybe even as high as like 720. I would expect, based on the respect that you literally went from your 382 to your 236, and you stopped at your 0.5, and you bounced off your 382. I would very much expect you find resistance here. You probably do hold the 0.5. I don't normally call for that. Normally I say 0.5 to the 382. I kind of identify the range. But being that you've been so stair-steppy with this fib pattern, it makes it really easy to kind of predict the future with it, right? Because you would expect to see that same respect going forward if you've been doing it this whole way up so far. So I would expect, if you're being productive on the fibs, which you are, if you go to your next target, which I think you're going to, then you would hold the next target for support, which would be the 0.5, an area that you're finding resistance now, just as you're finding support here at a previous area that you're finding resistance, right? Just as you were finding support here at, I guess technically a previous area you were finding support, but also a previous area you're finding resistance and support. But it all backtracks. So beyond the fibs, beyond the 61869 area, you did find resistance back here. You did find it back here as well, and there's a little bit of support and resistance going on throughout this zone back here. So I do expect $6.45 to $7.20 to hold as resistance on the first attempt. You probably do pull back to about these levels, just a little bit higher, and then continue on your merry way up to new all-time highs, man. So yeah, by the end of the year, by the end of this year, I think Thorchain, I don't know if it'll be at new all-time highs by the end of this year, but I would expect it to be above its highs from March, okay? Time will tell. We'll see how it goes, but that's a little piece, I guess. Anyways, Astro is the next one. You were saying not to do Astro Classic, right? The one on CoinEx. That's the one you want. And this is, yeah, at the request of Babu. Let's see here. A little bit of a double bottom. Is that a triple bottom? No, double bottom. It's a very nice looking double bottom. A lot of volume came in there. I don't know the backstory behind this thing. You know, I know that there's multiple ones, Astroport Classic, and it's not the same, right? Yeah, different price. So a little bit of a feud in the community, maybe. I don't know. Definitely some interest here. That looks nice. Let's see what you're doing. High to low. 382, pulling back to, as long as you're holding that 236, which is that's at about 2.845 cents. As long as you're holding that line, I'm cool with this being your low. If you give that up, you could risk going lower, but even then, I'd still be optimistic that you hold some kind of higher low. It would just be at a lower price. But let's look to hold this 236. You might not even go down there. Let's look to move up. Your next target area that I would say, you know, excluding the idea that you might move down immediately, which I think you might. We'll look at the shorter term stuff just to confirm that, would be 10 cents to 12.8 cents. That's ultimately your next target area. Regardless of what you're doing in the immediate terms, that's where I think you're wanting to go. And that makes sense because it's the golden ratio. It makes sense because you had previous resistance right there, previous resistance going on back here in that zone as well. So that makes sense to me. Let's look at the daily. By the way, the weekly RSI, very bearish. Very, very, it's not a good look right now. But it could be. It could be. You've bounced in this area before, and it was phenomenal. And you found support in this area before. So let's look at the daily. Daily RSI, definitely looking sad, but some bullish divergence, yes. That play might have already, I mean, it's not severe bullish divergence. Interacting with the 123. Daily RSI just looks pretty bad, man. So we're going to need to see some life, right? The indicators might not help us out so much because I'm personally not expecting that we continue to move down. If I'm wrong, though, really, like if you break this level here, right, like where that 236 was, maybe it's time to face the music. That 236, actually, I think it's like at the base of these days here at like 2.8 cents, 2.9 cents, something like that, right? As long as you're holding that, I think you're fine. But if you break that, everything that I'm doing as far as analysis goes would be wrong. 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour also looks very bearish. So yes, I would think you do continue to go down just a little bit from here, right? I think if we look at it from an overall perspective, right, we go back out to the weekly and we look and we go from this low to this high here. Wait, that's not what I was doing before. I think it was the high to the low. I'm sorry. High to the low. There we go. Yeah, 382 resistance. Back to the 236 for support. That's a very common thing to do. You can go below this. I know I was saying hold this line. You want to hold it, but just like how you went a little bit below it here or here, that's okay. As long as you get these immediate moves back, as long as you're showing support off of the area, that's fine, right? I wouldn't call that a break, right? A move down like this, and if you close the day down here, that would be a break, in my opinion. But the 236 is at 2.845 cents. That's where I think you're going. You're at 3.36 cents right now. As far as new all-time highs go, I don't know. Maybe not. It's possible. I don't know. Very new chart. Came about in 2022. From the high that we have to the low that we have. Hey, you're showing some pretty decent respect on this too. And that 236 is near where this 236 is. So if you were to see new all-time highs, you're looking at like $31 to $335. Maybe you hit that, maybe you don't. That's a tall order. I doubt you hit this 335 zone, right? That's a tall order. So from here, maybe the 1272, because that already is like a 100x from your current price. Maybe up to the 88, you know, the 1414. I'm not saying you can't see the 1618, but I don't know. It's too new. Like already calling for new all-time highs on a coin that hasn't existed for multiple cycles. That's already uncommon, I would say. Most coins going into their first bull cycle, they don't see, well, it just depends on when they come out. It depends on when they come out. Like this one coming out, not necessarily at the end of the last bull cycle, does give it, I think, more of a chance to see new all-time highs. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop rambling so much, but essentially I'm just trying to illustrate the point that this is the area that I'd focus on if I was expecting new all-time highs. And that already, I'm just going to say it's not given. It can happen. It definitely can happen. And you could absolutely see prices higher than that, but it's not given because I'm not as certain of this one. I don't know enough about it, right? So those are the targets, but I'm not like making that call myself. If the price goes all the way up to to the T and it stops right here and that's your all-time high, I'm not going to be like, see, I was right. I did all the right TA, and maybe I did the right TA, but I'm not confident in these calls, right? You could just as easily fall short of these highs as you could go through them. This thing, to me, it's a bit of a wild card, just so you know, because I don't know a lot about it. But given the TA, again, I think it's clear what my perspective is. You're going to go down a little bit. You're going to go up. And I would expect that you do break this high, and if you do break that high, you're looking for new all-time highs at that point. So giving you those targets as well. That's Astro. Let's move on. Let's talk about AIOZ. AIOZ here for Mr. Element or Mrs. Element. I don't know. Whatever, man. From a low to a high. Holding the 236. That's a very, very bullish thing to do if you do hold it. And I think you will. I think you will. Let's see, from a high to a low. Are you showing any respect on this? Yes. Wow. Wow. Yeah. This thing looks very bullish, you guys. Wow. Holy hell. Dude. What is it? I've heard of it before, but what is it? I've never actually looked at it, I guess. Maybe I've done TA on it before. Maybe before this pump. I don't know, man. Nobody's talked to me. I definitely haven't. Oh, no, this is back. So I've definitely done TA since then, I guess. I don't know. Why is nobody talking? 565 million too, dude. That's a low market cap. I mean, yes and no. Decent volume coming in there too, right? Crazy. All right, this is what I'm looking at, right? Okay, so from the overall, the all-time high to the all-time low, you went straight through your 618, which that's not common. That's actually a very bullish thing. When you treat the 618 with disrespect on that first slice, you just cut through it like butter. That's a very promising indication that you're going to see these higher prices. Even more so when you back test the 618 for support, which is exactly what you did, okay? And I would bet, just based on the respect you're showing the 618, this 1618 is something that I would throw on the docket, right? $78. You're at 49 cents, 50 cents. Why did I buy pajamas today? Why didn't I buy this thing? Dude, this thing looks super bullish, and it's not even a meme coin, is it? Dude, this is probably going to be the winner, man. Like, you got a 22, 23x minimum price target from here with like 160 doable, a very doable, I think, 160. Because what would that do? 100x from 565 million. This is not a small ask, right? This is a tall order. That'd bring you to about 56.5 billion dollars. 100x from here, right? Let's just round up and say 57 billion. Add another 50x to that. You're looking at like an $80 billion market cap, essentially, right? It's a little bit more than that, but around 80, less than 100, dude. This is crazy. Yeah, this is really crazy. I think you can do it though. If it doesn't see a 148x, 50, dude, it's been a while because we're not really in that point of the market anymore. But I used to do this a lot more often. But I'm gonna write this down on my sticky notepad, man, because this is interesting to me. And I want to say it every time that I do this. And it's been a while since I've done this. Anytime that I do this, I do want to say that doesn't mean that this is going to be the next best thing since sliced bread, right? I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. Most of the time that I write on these sticky notepads, I end up chickening out and not buying anyways. But I'm not kidding when I say this one actually looks pretty promising. Very bullish chart, dude. Like, we haven't even looked at the RSI. The monthly RSI bouncing off the 50 is so bullish. Weekly RSI getting below the 50, that's okay, but you're finding support at previous areas of resistance and finding support on the 40, which is very bullish in itself. living above the overbought zone in your moments of strength. In your most desperate moments of weakness, you're not even getting oversold and you're holding the 40 above the bearish area of control. If we're looking at a fib on a fib perspective, right, from an overall all-time high to the all-time low, you're holding the 618 as support, of which you tore through on the first time, which is just bullish in itself. Just bullish after bullish after bullish. And then to top it all off, from a low to a high, you're holding the 236, which just that was a weird breath in. You ever have that happen? Sometimes that happens. It's not common. It's very uncommon, you guys. Like sometimes on shorter term time frames you see this, but this is on a weekly time frame. You've had a long and I'm not trying to demean, like, just because you went to the 236 doesn't mean this wasn't an insane pullback. You pulled back from a high to a low, almost 69%, right? Dude, this thing looks really good. All the indications for me are there. It's making me want to sell my car and buy some of this right now. Oh my god, dude. It looks really good. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop talking so much and just guess that it's going to go up from here. Daily RSI looking bullish. Very bullish, yes. Not very bullish, but definitely bullish, relatively speaking. Weekly RSI. Let's go back out. I want to look here from a high to a low of this. Look at you. Resisting the 382 area, right? You got above it. Very common to do on the first attempt. Pulling back to the 236. Consolidating in this zone. The next area you'd likely go to, and I'm surprised you haven't already, actually, to be completely fair. It's a little bit concerning, but maybe not given the circumstances of the rest of the market. The next zone you'd go to would be about 68 to 73 cents, 74 cents. You're at 50 cents now. That, being that this is a daily basis, that really could happen and probably does happen by the end of the month, I would think. If not like the first week of November, I think you'll be up in this zone. But I do think you find resistance there. You probably pull back again, hold that 0.5, maybe go a little bit lower to where these highs are, right? It's just below the 0.5 area there. Go a little bit lower and find support, but all in all, dude, this thing looks great. The amount of downside, I don't think you're going down at all, right? You're at 50 cents. You're not going to go below like 48.5 cents from here, I don't think. Unless the rest of the market takes a dive, but dude, I keep saying dude, and I keep getting all starry-eyed over this thing, so I'm just going to stop. But this is interesting. It's a very bullish chart. I don't know enough about this, right? Just because I've written it on my notepad, again, that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy it. What I like to do is I like to look into these things. Normally, in every single time that I do write something on my sticky notepad, I do look into the fundamentals more, and I look at it from like that perspective, the tokenomics and everything, right? And if I like it, then I will make a video, like an independent video on it, and I might do that soon for this if I do like it, but I'm not buying it, right? I want to buy it, just at a glance, just to let you know, but I'm not buying it, right? I will do my research more so, and then I will tell you guys if I'm gonna buy it. I won't buy it and then like a month later or a week later tell you I bought it. I will, like, if I'm gonna buy it, I will tell you the day that I buy it. I'll tell you even before I buy it, right? But just don't get too excited, right? Just because I'm drilling a little bit in the mouth doesn't mean that it's going to do everything that I say it's going to do. It definitely does look bullish, but there's always exceptions. Nothing's guaranteed. So don't go throwing the bank at this thing. If you want to throw a little bit in it, go for it. Do your own research first, though. Throw as much money into it as you want to, but do your own research. Definitely, Element, you're probably the winner tonight. Okay? I'm just saying. GLMR from Jax. GLMR. Let's see. There we go. Let's look at it. We'll use Kraken, sure. Glimmer. Lower lows in the midst of the bull cycle. I gotta say, man, this is not a good look, right? Most coins that look like this right now, I've given up on. I'm especially reluctant to consider this thing to see like any kind of significant growth, being that this is your first cycle and you're just showing no, like most coins in their first cycle, they have their first cycle pump and then they dump and they fizzle out forever. But your just whole existence has been fizzling out. This was your first cycle pump. And what, you went from 18 cents all the way up to 73 cents. That's great. That's great. But that's nothing crazy for crypto, man. Not that. There were things that did way higher growth in that amount of time. It's your first bit of growth. That's all you got, right? Most volume that you've ever seen in like this short of a stint. You had these levels of volume back here, but you had more of it going on overall here. And you couldn't break out of this zone of resistance here. Like you just couldn't do it. I don't know, man. I've done some more fundamental analysis on Glimmer. I don't know everything about it. It's Moon River, right? I don't know everything about it, but I will say that I wasn't impressed with the transparency of their tokenomics, and that doesn't mean that it's destined to fail, right? There's some coins that the tokenomics aren't completely clear and they still do very well. But I personally only like to invest in something if I really like, if I'm confident in the tokenomics, if I'm at least somewhat aware. And sometimes they don't make them like public. You have to kind of know the community and like be aware, and like they post this information in places that just aren't conventional. But I don't think that's the case here. I've always said, actually, and I've always had the suspicion that Glimmer is a scam project, but I could be wrong. You know, I very well could be wrong. I don't have enough evidence for that, but it's just something my gut's been telling me. But certainly, I think it'll move up with the rest of the markets, scam or not, right? This is crypto. Like, you don't have to be valid to make money. You can definitely move up from here. I don't like how you're looking now. Okay, I really don't like how you're looking. I'm skeptical if you even get above 73 cents, but if you do, I think the highest you would go is 227. 1618 extension, you'd be lucky to get there. It's also previous area of support, check back as resistance, and then you go down. You're at 1730 right now. The highest I would give you is 227 by the end of the cycle, just to make it clear. I could be wrong, and genuinely, it could go way higher. Who knows? But I don't personally, I don't know about this one, okay? And it doesn't look good. Again, most charts that look like this, where they're finding lows while we're firmly entrenched in the bull cycle, like Bitcoin looks like this, and relative to Bitcoin, right? Glimmer, it's like it did this in the beginning of the cycle, and now it's down here. Bitcoin did all this. Glimmer did, like, that's not. It's okay if you go down a little bit or you don't grow as much, but this, finding new lows in the middle of the bull cycle, dude, that is not good. In fact, most of the time when you see coins like that, the majority of the time, they do fail to see new all-time highs, and they do fail as projects overall. This is a very big indication there, in my opinion. But don't let me stop you, right? I can be wrong, man. I've had calls like this before on coins, and I was wrong. So I don't know everything about it. This one, though, I do know a little bit more about the fundamentals than I do the average coin that I analyze here, right? I guess I don't know a lot about I know that it was hard to find the information about the fundamentals. That's what I know, and that I don't like. It's like, why not make it transparent? What are you hiding? Why are you hiding it? Why can't I know it? I'm trying to invest. You want me to invest. Why are there secrets? I don't like that shit, man. 17.3 cents now. Yeah, I mean, you probably move up. You probably move down a little bit. Like, at the lowest, I would think you move down to 16 cents, but you probably do move up. Probably. High to low. Next target area would be 24 cents. Then from there, you're looking at 36 to 41 cents, 42 cents maybe. And then from there, sure, $1.20 to 227. But again, that's like the highest that I'd give it. Maybe you could get as high as 560, but I'm wondering if you even get above this. I'd be surprised if you got as high as this, and I'd be very surprised if you got high. I'd be absolutely astonished if you went through that, right? I'd be completely wrong at that point. But anyways, let's move on from Glimmer. I'm sorry I'm talking so much smack. Again, Jax, that's not on you, bro. I just don't like the coin itself. It's nothing personal, right? I'm being real. I'm giving you my genuine opinion. If I liked it, I would tell you. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna butter the bread that is stale. 0.00269 right now. That's the price right now for Smooth Love Potion. If we're looking at this thing, it came about 2020, had a little piece of action last bull cycle, and you have had quite the bear cycle, haven't you? Wow. Crazy, dude. You started your bear cycle a little bit earlier too than most coins. You know, a lot of coins stopped their bull cycle around this time, like in this time, but they didn't drop until November, like really drop until November. But anyways, looking good, I think. I mean, looking constructive to some degree. You do have higher lows relative to this cycle. Okay, that's nice. I want to see, can I get, would it have all the data? I think that's okay. Yeah, that'll be okay. All right. From the high, that's not the high, but to the low there. The high to the low. Didn't hit your 382. That's okay. That's normally a weaker move, right? When you break above the 236, you do at least expect to go to the 382. So the fact that you didn't, it makes sense that you pulled back to your 069 area, held that as support. That's nice to see. Previous area of support back here. Your next move up, I would think, is to the 382. And likely you probably do go a little bit above it. Maybe you find resistance right here at this area of support, which is at about 1.5 cents there. So maybe move, you're at 0.0, What is that, man? Percentage growth wise. Is that? It's a lot. That's a decent amount, man. That's like end of the year target, maybe more than that, man. That's nice. Yeah, nice little gains in a short amount of time there. I think you're ready to rip. You're like most of the market. You're just waiting. You're coiled up. You're ready to go. You just haven't done it yet. You're at the precipice. Daily RSI looking good. Definitely very bullish. Volume's coming in, right? You can see more volume coming in here. It's kind of weird, actually. Most of the time, volume decreases as you're going throughout the consolidation phase, though. I guess these one-off little spikes, I don't know. It's not really anything to go off of. I don't know, man. Let's just keep it simple. You're consolidating. Next move up is probably going to be to about like 1.5 cents, if not at least 1.2 cents. Okay, you're at 0.00269 right now. It's a nice little bit of a move there. Yeah. Okay. Smooth love potion. If this thing were to see new all-time highs, if it were, you're looking at $2, $15. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy stuff. I don't know if you see that. 37, let's call it 38 million, and it's definitely possible. You can see that kind of growth. I don't think you do, but I mean, that's a 778x. It's a 1000x. We've seen coins do 1000x or 2000x even in their first bull cycles. Hey, talking about AIOZ, right? Or no, was it? It was Rune. I'm sorry, talking about Rune. Will this be that? I don't know. I've heard of SLP. I've heard a little bit about it, but I feel like I don't know. Who knows? I don't know enough about the fundamentals of this, so I don't want to cast out these all-time highs completely. Those are pretty high, man. 700x, 1700x. That's insane. And 100x would take you to 3.7 billion. 1000x would take you to 37 billion. I mean, it can happen. It happens to some coins every cycle, but at this point, I would more expect the cycle to top off because I don't know enough about it. At a minimum, I would say 4.6 cents to a maximum, maybe like 22 cents. Maybe go to your all-time highs. You break through that 22-cent zone, man. If you do it convincingly, then I have no problem believing you're going to $2 or higher. But that's insane, right? From here, like even from the zone that it would take to convince me that you're going there, that's still decent gains. So I don't know, and that'd probably happen. That'd be like your finale move. I don't know, man. Time will tell. I'm talking about things that are very far away, but. Sure, $2 to 464. Those are your target areas. How confident am I that you get there? I don't know. You know, I'm just as confident that you get there as I am unconfident. I don't want to make it seem like I'm one way or another. Again, just like whichever one it was that I was calling for, that I was like, if it moves up here, I'm not going to brag about being right? Just like if it didn't hit these new all-time highs, I wouldn't feel bad about being wrong because I'm making these calls based off what I see in the technical readings, but I'm not convinced, right? One way or another, I'm not convinced, but definitely curious, definitely interesting. Looks like some decent potential could be made out of this thing. Relative to the short term, again, I think I've already given those target price areas, 1.5 cents, 1.1 cents. So let's move on from there. Turbo is the next one. We're going to use Dex Screener, actually. Maybe we can look at pajamas real quick. Special feet on pajamas. Get that FT up 5.3%. How much have we moved down from when I bought? Oh, a little bit. A little bit. This is when I bought right there, so we're around there. Probably pulls back, right? That was just a one-off. I'm not throwing like, I'm not going to inflate the price myself. If you guys want to help, go for it. Let's see. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. What are we doing? Turbo. There we go. That's right. I'm sorry. Got distracted. Forgot where I was. Turbo V3, market cap, volume. Okay, we're going to use this, yeah. Okay, man. So, and Mr. Hat, I did do this already. I don't know if you saw the TA on it, but I just figured if I'm gonna do GOAT, I figured I'd do this one again too, because it's a pretty popular meme this cycle, right? Already from the first high, man, I don't know if I want to take that low. Maybe I should use V2. Let's see. We got any V2s? No V2s. It's all V3s. Maybe this one will be different. Let's just see. Okay, I like this one more. Yeah, less wicks, right? It's more like real price action. Okay, so right, because from before there were like these wicks along the way. I thought they looked weird. High to low. That's something too. If you're a technical analyst, right? Don't just trust any chart you see. Just because it's printed doesn't mean it's real, right? Because like this chart here, while similar to this chart, it's different. And if you go off of the actual highs and lows, like as you should technically, you're going to get different readings. And because of this, because of these wicks, these scam wicks is what they call them, that can throw off your analysis a lot, right? It can leave you expecting price targets that'll just couldn't ever happen. So it's on you as a trader, just kind of, and as an analyst, to just identify when things look weird, and you'll get better at that. As you know, that's not something that you're going to be able to identify if you're new. If it's like your first year, even your first 3 years, maybe as you get to 3 years, but as time goes on, you know what normal is essentially in a world that's kind of not normal at all. But 1 cent here for turbo. What I was trying to do was I was trying to take this high to this low. You went up to your 1618, boom, right up there immediately. From this high to this low, you went up to your 1272, inevitably going up past your 2618, crazy. High to low here, you went all the way up to your 2618. Okay, so very broad range of growth there from a high to a low. I would say this low here. You've tipped your 1272 as you had before, right? The last time you tipped your 1272, you went high to low here. You went up a little bit, consolidated back at the areas of resistance that you had on a closing basis, found support there, and then you had your real move. So that could make sense, right? It's pretty common once you break out to new all-time highs to consolidate right above that range, and then you get your real move. So maybe we see that. Maybe you do. If you were to do the same thing you did last time when you found resistance on the 1272, inevitably you went to your 2618. That's all the way at 6.73 cents. We're on a weekly basis here. You consolidated for, let's see, from March 4th, really, and you started breaking out of this consolidation on May 6th. So April, May, 2 months. 2 months time. From October 14th, I don't know. That would mean essentially the same kind of idea here. You'd consolidate until December, and then at the end of the year, you pop off. I mean, that could happen. You don't need a lot of time to pop off. Maybe this consolidation phase doesn't take 2 months like the last one did. Maybe it takes a month or less time, you know. But a little bit of consolidation here wouldn't be crazy, okay? That's all I'm trying to get to. Daily RSI, you were overbought. Now you're not. I think if we're looking at the relative here, actually looking at this fib for what it is, expecting a move back down to about $0.0084. You're at 1 cent right now, so pulling back a little bit down there. That's like a 20%, 15% drop. Should be expected. Oftentimes, when you hit the 1272 though, you don't like get. Like if you don't even get into this range, you're just like tipping it, you do actually go to that 786. Normally I call for the 886 100 area, but normally, again, you get into the zone. The fact that you just tipped the zone does leave it open, in my opinion, to go a little bit lower than you would normally go. So going down to 0.0074 is also on the table, and that makes sense. You have resistance. You know, I'm gonna delete all this stuff here real quick. You know, you've got resistance. Actually, I want the fib back. I take it back. Delete all that stuff. You've got resistance here, previous resistance, right there at the 786. Resistance here, going back, finding support there, and then moving up. That makes sense. So something I would call between the 786 and the 886 is where you're going to go. You're going to go between 0.00847, 0.007517, probably over the next month, right? Probably over the coming weeks, sometime in November, you probably find your low. If not early December, I would think you find your low. You probably find your low in November. You start moving up late November or December. That's my guess. Okay, moving on from there. Next target area, when you do move up, like I said, I mean, it's like 6 cents, 7 cents could be on the table, something like that. Probably above 7 cents would be my guess. At least 6.7, just based off of the last time's behavior. And then if we want to get some more validation to that, high to low here. 1270. This is very bullish stuff. Yeah, man. 1618 at 3.6 cents, so at least there. 10 cents is the next one, so I mean 6.7 cents, 7 cents itself. That's right in the middle of that range. So yeah, anything between 3.6 to 10.7 cents, I think, is on the docket whenever we're talking about moving up. But first, moving down, probably consolidating in this area for the next month or so. That'd be my expectation, and then move up. Yes, it's okay. Turbo can consolidate while the rest of the market moves up, right? You don't have to move up in unison 100% of the time. That's pretty normal. Normally, you do see coins cycle through. It'll feel like if you've got enough coins diversified that you're paying attention to, like let's say you have 10 coins, it'll feel like you have like half your bag is pumping 1 week or 1 month, and then the other half of your bag is pumping 1 month. Maybe it's like a third of your bag or a quarter. It's like things, sometimes they all run together, but most of the time they take their turn. So the Turbo had its turn moving up. Now it's taking its turn consolidating. Most of the market, I think, is going to take its turn moving up probably before Turbo does. But the reason I'm saying this is that I am expecting higher price targets. If you notice that Turbo is moving down or even not moving up while the rest of the market moves up over the coming weeks, don't let that discourage you. It looks very healthy, in my opinion, from a charting perspective. I think it does look very healthy. You might be looking at this volume and being like, that's terrible. I'm not on the one with the most volume, right? I went to this one specifically because I thought the chart looked cleaner. But the one that does have the most volume, if we do look at that for volume's sake, if we roll to that, come on now, load up a little bit. It's not crazy volume, but it is more volume, right? You had a lot of volume here to finish off your move, and you are technically building volume as you move up higher. Although I will say last week's move, that is not that much. I mean, it is a lot of volume relative to this thing's history, but you would have wanted to see, I guess, a little bit more volume. On the bright side, though, it might be less volume than this peak here, but it is more volume than those weeks there, and that was when you were like consolidating. So you did actually end this move with gaining volume. So I don't think it looks that bad. I was just really going over that in case anyone looked at that and was like, it's moving up with lower volume, and it kind of is, but at the same time, I don't think it's bad, right? I think you can afford to like still move up and still build this volume as you're going up. But yeah, in case I wasn't clear, consolidation, moving down, and then moving up. That's my thoughts for this thing. Okay. Next one is GOAT. And this one apparently, I guess, is I was looking at it. It's been on like the popular list, even though it's been moving down. I was expecting some kind of huge move down, honestly. And I know I didn't say that in the Discord last night, but dude, this thing, it went up so much. Like a 90% drop from its all-time high is very doable, right? I was looking at the fib, right? Like just generally, if you've paid attention to this video at all, what did I say literally in the very first part of the video? The most common areas to go to are the 236 and the 382. From your low to your high, like where you were, Mr. Hat, whenever I was talking about it last night, you were up higher, right? Because it was at the beginning of the day yesterday. You were up higher, a lot higher. And I said it looked like it was going to go down, but I was a little bit, I don't think I was completely clear, because whenever I looked at it briefly. It looked like it wanted to go down a lot. I wanted to do more analysis before I just gave it that kind of conclusive outcome. But yes, I think you're going to move down a lot. You've moved down a lot already, right? From your all-time high to your low, you moved down 73% in 3 days, okay? Less than 3 days, technically, right? Because that's 1 full day there. That's 2 full days. We're not even 4 hours into our new day here. So not even 2.5 days, you move down 73%. Here's the kicker. You could move down more than that in the next 3 days or next 3 weeks. What do I mean by more than that? I literally mean from this current price to your 382, that's a 90% drop. You've moved down 73% already. Overall, from the high down there, it would be like a 96% drop, right? But from here, about a 90% drop still. So that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But you've done crazy things. And let me validate that a little bit, right? We didn't have, yesterday whenever I looked at this thing, when I drew the fibs, we didn't have the day completed. We didn't have all that volume. But look at how massive that volume, that's the biggest volume you've seen coming the second day out of your all-time high as selling pressure. That is legitimate to me. And it adds fuel to the idea. What I was flirting with yesterday, what I wasn't confident on, so I didn't say it, but I'm saying it now. 7 cents is lucky to hold. 7 cents. 2.12 cents is where I'm thinking you're going to go, right? We've got previous areas of resistance right there, and this thing hasn't it hasn't existed for long. So it could do anything, man. Like literally tomorrow, it could be at new all-time highs, or it could be dead. I don't know anything about this thing, other than it seems to be another meme coin. But my guess, being that it's existed for a very short amount of time, being that it's pumped up a lot in a very short amount of time, you're probably going to experience a lot of volatility, even on your way up, right? Like next week, this thing could be at new all-time highs, but first you might go down here, and then that's what happens with these things. If I was looking to buy GOAT, though, I would not buy here. I definitely would not buy here. I want to look at the indicators real quick. It's not going to help because it's just such a new chart. It's not even really fair to do TA on this. But let's look at the 4-hour. Yeah. Yep. Weakest readings. Volume's picking up as you're moving down. At a minimum, 7 cents would be your target area, right? It just makes sense to me. But that 382, that looks like pretty prominent resistance right there. That's a pretty discernible high. Very common thing to do. I don't know, man. Mr. Hat, that's my guess. You're moving down. As far as up afterwards, I don't know. I don't really like it when coins pick up volume like this on the way down. Right? It's such a new coin. This could have just been one of many meme coins that literally came into existence just to pump. They had the right teams behind it to get it up there, and then it's forgotten about. They sell, they move on to the next one. They do this again, right? I'm not saying that's this. I have no idea about it. You probably know a little bit more about it, right, than I do. I don't know anything about the fundamentals. I don't know anything about the community. So if that offends you, if and not you, Mr. Hat, if that offends anybody who's watching this, who likes GOAT, who's a part of the community or whatever, just understand I'm not saying that to be offensive. I'm saying that it's like a generality for all meme coins, right? Because that is the general truth. That doesn't mean it has to be the truth for this one. I just don't know. So I'm giving it that generality blanket, which is that it's very possible, especially with this increased volume on the way down, that this thing, it might be dead forever. That was it. That was it. Because, again, a lot of meme coins have done this cycle where they come out, they get their pump done in the first few days or the first few weeks, and then that's it. It's rampant, right? It's how people with a little bit of know-how are making their money, right? But I'm not saying this thing can't go to new all-time highs. It definitely can. You just need to find support at significant areas, and even at your like least bit of drop, like the area that would be like your first area of significance, is at like 7 cents. That's still, from 21.2 cents, an immense drop, let alone if you went all the way down to like 2 point whatever cents, 2 cents itself. You know, I think I've said everything I need to say. Bearish, right? This, if we were talking about which coin I'm confident drops the most in the shortest amount of time, it would be this one. Mr. Hat, you get the inverse win today, okay? I don't know what to call it. What would be the opposite of a trophy? A lump of coal? I don't know, man. You get the upside down trophy. All right, go. That's that. Let's talk about Zeph and then finish this bad boy up for Bonham. Zeph. Is that a meme coin too? Zephyr? Zephyr. Zephyril. 275 right now. From a low to a high. Interesting. It's on MEXC too, right? Yeah. Again, not impressed that you're seeing new lows in this bull cycle. It's a decent bit of volume on a wick that looks to be a buying wick kind of there. Every buy is a sell though, so I don't know. I don't know. You look good enough, I suppose. Skeptical if you ever get back above here. It's too new, right? Just because I'm skeptical doesn't mean you won't get above there, right? You very well, you could quintuple that price. I don't know. You're at 275 now. If you get above that high, we're looking at $150 to $576 as your primary target area. You're at $2.75 now. I mean, those are doable targets for something that's probably a low market cap, right? This thing's brand new, very spotty kind of price action or volume even. Yeah, 13 million. This thing could do a lot. It could do a lot more than just these. You could be worth thousands, man, if you really wanted to. If it catches on, if it catches traction. And again, just like I was saying, I'm skeptical if you even see this high. So, but like just because I'm skeptical, that doesn't mean that it can't see new all-time highs. Just like I said that, just because I'm talking about targets that are well above this, doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen either. I don't know enough about this project, right? It's very new. It's not fair really to guess an all-time high. I'm just saying if you were to go above this high, these are your target areas. I'm just doing that because even though I'm not being conclusive in what I think is actually going to happen. People seem to appreciate at least having the targets laid out, right? And I think that's fair, right? I can tell you, I don't know if this will happen. Maybe you don't even get above it, but if you do, this is what you would expect. If you don't get above it, expect to find resistance at like $33 to maybe as low as $12, right? But I would think probably $33 to $23 would be where you would go. If you don't go above this high, that'd be where you stop. And it's tricky because you could go up here, you could stop here momentarily and then continue onwards, right? If you stop here, the way to validate that that's your high, get back below the 618. That's the way to validate it. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of loss, a lot of loss, really, to figure it out at that point. But 277 right now. Daily RSI is very bullish. Weekly RSI is getting above the 50. Or no, it's actually just below the 50. I'm sorry. Very bullish week last week though. Above average volume, up 103%. At areas of resistance, you're at your 236. Daily RSI is very bullish. 4-hour RSI, very bullish. Volume looks good. I think you continue. Yeah, you're going to continue up. You're at $2.77. I think you move up to like $4.75 rather immediately. Any kind of maneuver down, and you could move down. You're at 277. You could move down to 210 first. But if you do, it'd be very quick, and it's going to be. I would think by the end of October, if not certainly sometime in November, you're up here. Okay, that's your next target area. Any kind of downside from here is just going to be noise, in my opinion. And then we'll go from there. That's all I got. Undeniably, AIOZ Element, you're the winner tonight on this one. So good job, congratulations. I don't know if you've won one before, but if not, congratulations on your first win. If so, if you have one, congratulations on another one. But that's all I got. And if anybody's curious as to what the win means, it's nothing, right? Like it's just a title of accomplishment. Really, what the win means for anybody that's watching or that pays attention to that part at all that is that's my personal opinion of if I were to put money in any of these coins, which I'm not, and most of the time I don't. But if I was to put money in any of these coins, the winner is the one that I'd feel the most confident putting money in. That's why I play this little game, right? And award winners and whatever, right? Even though it's nothing, even though you don't really get anything out of it, we all kind of get something out of it, right? Because at least we're aware out of this list of coins we're going through, which one seems to be the best prospect. At least in my opinion, so for whatever that's worth. Anyways, guys, thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more, and that's all I got. Yeah. Bye-bye.